My sister handed me my suitcase at her graduation party and told everyone I was dead weight. 3 years later, I walked into her hospital as her new boss. I still remember the night I disappeared. Every detail is burned into my memory like a scar that never quite heals. It was supposed to be Emily's big celebration. She'd finally become Dr. Emily Carter, the pride of Baltimore. Her townhouse was packed with colleagues in expensive suits, champagne bottles popping every few minutes, everyone singing her praises like she was some kind of medical goddess. And me? I was standing in the kitchen with a half-packed suitcase, trying not to cry. Before we go any further, I need to ask you something. If you've ever been betrayed by someone you sacrificed everything for, hit that subscribe button. This story is for you. Because what happened next? It changed everything. See, I'd been living with Emily for 8 months after losing my job in Atlanta. The tech company I worked for went under, and I had nowhere else to go. Emily said it was fine. She said family helps family. So I moved into her guest room and tried to make myself useful. I cooked every meal. I cleaned every surface until it gleamed. I even helped pay the bills when she was still in med school and money was tight. I gave her $2,000 from my savings when she couldn't afford her board exam fees. She never paid me back. Never even mentioned it again. But that night, her graduation celebration, everything changed. The house smelled like expensive perfume and catered food I couldn't afford to buy. Her colleagues were laughing in the living room, clinking glasses, talking about their 6-figure salaries and vacation homes. I was in the kitchen, washing dishes because the caterers had left early, when Emily walked in. She wasn't alone. 3 of her doctor friends followed her, all holding champagne flutes, all looking at me like I was part of the furniture. "Mia," Emily said, and her voice had this edge to it I'd never heard before. Cold. Clinical. Like she was diagnosing a problem. "Can we talk?" I dried my hands on a towel and turned around. "Sure. What's up?" She glanced at her friends, then back at me. And that's when I saw it, the embarrassment in her eyes. She was embarrassed of me. Her sister. The woman who raised her. "I think it's time you figured your life out," she said, and her friends nodded like this was a reasonable conversation to have at a party. "I can't keep carrying dead weight." The kitchen went silent except for the laughter coming from the living room. Dead weight. She called me dead weight. "Emily, I've been looking for jobs," I said quietly, trying to keep my voice steady. "It's been tough, but I'm trying." "Trying isn't enough," she interrupted. "I'm a doctor now. I need to focus on my career, my life. I can't have you depending on me anymore." One of her friends, a blonde woman with too much Botox, actually laughed. "It's called tough love, honey. Sometimes people need a push." I looked at Emily, waiting for her to defend me. To say something. Anything. But she just stood there, arms crossed, waiting for me to leave. So I did. I walked to the guest room, grabbed the duffel bag I'd already packed because somewhere deep down I knew this was coming, and walked back through that kitchen. Past Emily. Past her smug friends. Past all those successful doctors who would never understand what it felt like to be thrown away. As I reached the front door, I heard Emily's voice carry from the kitchen. "Guess the dead weight finally dropped itself off." They laughed. All of them. Like I was a joke. Like the 8 months I spent keeping her life together meant nothing. I didn't argue. I didn't cry. I just walked out into the October night with my duffel bag and got into my beat-up Honda Civic. I sat there for 10 minutes, watching through the window as Emily returned to her party. Watching her smile and accept congratulations. Watching her live her best life while I had nowhere to go. That's when I made a decision. I wasn't going to cry. I wasn't going to beg. I was going to disappear. Completely. And when I came back, if I came back, she would see me differently. she would have no choice. I turned off my phone, pulled out of her driveway, and never looked back. Let her think she was done with me. Because I wasn't done. Not even close. For 3 years, I became a ghost. Not because I was broken, because I was building. The first thing I did was cut all contact. I deleted every social media account. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, gone. I changed my phone number and didn't give it to anyone who knew Emily. I moved 2 hours away to a tiny studio apartment in Frederick, Maryland, where nobody knew my name or my story. Emily's initial reaction? Relief. I know because I created a fake Instagram account just to watch her. I never commented, never liked anything. Just watched. And in the first few weeks after I left, she posted constantly. Pictures of her new doctor's coat. Brunch with colleagues. Her and her friends at some fancy wine bar. One caption said, "Surrounded by people who lift me up, not drag me down." I stared at that post for an hour. Then I closed the app and got back to work. Because while Emily was celebrating, I was surviving. I worked 2 jobs. Waitress at a diner during the day, overnight data entry for a medical billing company. I slept 4 hours a night if I was lucky. I ate ramen and peanut butter sandwiches. I wore the same 3 outfits on rotation because I couldn't afford anything else. But every spare dollar went into one thing, my future. I enrolled in an online MBA program. Classes at midnight after my shift ended. Assignments finished at 3 in the morning with coffee that tasted like gasoline. My studio apartment became a prison of textbooks and laptop screens, but I didn't care. I had one goal burning in my mind every single day: rise so high she'll need binoculars to see me. People talk about revenge like it's this explosive, dramatic thing. It's not. Real revenge is quiet. It's the sound of typing at 2 in the morning when everyone else is asleep. It's choosing studying over eating because you can't afford both. It's becoming someone new while the world forgets you existed. Emily had no idea what I was doing. She probably thought I was still struggling, still broken, still that dead weight she kicked to the curb. Good. Let her think that. But here's what she didn't know. What nobody knew. I raised Emily. Our parents died in a car accident when I was 19 and she was 15. A drunk driver ran a red light and took them both in an instant. I was in college, working part-time, barely keeping myself afloat. And suddenly I had a grieving teenager to take care of. I dropped out. I worked full-time at a call center. I made sure Emily stayed in school, had food, had someone to talk to when the nightmares got bad. I put her through undergrad. I helped pay for her med school applications. I gave her our mother's pearl necklace for her white coat ceremony. Emily's success? It was built on my sacrifice. Every degree she earned, every promotion she celebrated, I was the foundation nobody saw. And the night of her graduation party, she erased me. Like I never mattered. Like those years of sacrifice were just nothing. So while she slept in her comfortable bed, posting about her perfect life, I was rewriting mine. 18 months after I left, I graduated top of my MBA class. Not just graduated, dominated. My thesis on healthcare operational efficiency got published in a national journal. Companies started reaching out. And that's when Meridian Healthcare Management called. They were a firm that specialized in acquiring struggling hospitals and turning them profitable. They needed someone who understood both business and healthcare operations. Someone hungry. Someone with something to prove. I was all 3. Within 6 months, I was their go-to specialist for hospital turnarounds. Within a year, I was promoted to senior operations consultant. My investments started paying off: smart choices, careful research, the kind of financial planning Emily never bothered to learn. I bought a real apartment. A car that didn't make weird noises. Clothes that actually fit. But I didn't post about it. I didn't tell anyone. I stayed invisible. Because the best revenge isn't showing off. It's showing up when they least expect it. And Emily? She had no idea what was coming. While she posted engagement photos with Marcus, her pharmaceutical sales rep boyfriend, I was negotiating million-dollar hospital acquisitions. While she bragged about her promotion to senior attending physician, I was being named chief of operations at Meridian Healthcare Management. And then, 2 years and 11 months after I disappeared, I sat in a conference room for my first major assignment briefing. My boss slid a folder across the table. We just acquired a struggling hospital in Baltimore. St. Mary's. Needs a complete operational overhaul. You'll be leading the transition as chief of operations on site. I opened the folder and saw the name. St. Mary's Hospital. Baltimore, Maryland. Emily's hospital. I didn't gasp. I didn't react. I just closed the folder and looked at my boss. When do I start? He smiled. 2 weeks. Think you can handle it? I smiled back. Absolutely. When I saw the hospital name on the acquisition file, I smiled for the first time in 3 years. Not from joy. From justice. Success isn't loud. It's the quiet sound of doors opening that were once locked. The 2 weeks before my first day at St. Mary's felt like the longest and shortest of my life. I prepared like I was going to war. Because in a way, I was. I studied every operational report about St. Mary's. Budget overruns. Staff inefficiencies. Supply chain problems. The hospital was hemorrhaging money, and nobody seemed to care enough to fix it. Emily's department, cardiology, was one of the worst offenders. Excessive overtime, wasteful supply ordering, scheduling conflicts that cost thousands. I made notes. Lots of notes. But while I prepared for battle, Emily was living her best life. At least, that's what her Instagram showed. I still checked it sometimes through my fake account. Not obsessively. Just enough to know what I was walking into. She'd gotten engaged to Marcus 6 months earlier. Big diamond ring, beach proposal, the whole performance. Her posts were constant, brunch photos, vacation pictures from the Bahamas, her new luxury SUV parked in front of her upscale townhouse. One caption from a month before I started at St. Mary's read, "Living my dream life with my dream man. So grateful for everyone who matters." Everyone who matters. The word stuck with me. I didn't matter to her anymore. Maybe I never did. But that was fine. Because in 2 weeks, I wouldn't need to matter to her. I'd matter to her bank account. Her schedule. Her entire professional existence. I spent those final days building my armor. Custom-tailored navy suits. Professional headshots. Business cards with my new title embossed in gold. I wasn't Mia the struggling waitress anymore. I was Mia Reeves Carter, Chief of Operations, Meridian Healthcare Management. The hyphenated last name was deliberate. Carter was still my name too. I wanted her to see it. To remember. My first day arrived on a Monday morning in September. The air had that crisp fall feeling, the same kind of air from the night I left her house 3 years ago. Poetic, really. I walked into St. Mary's Hospital at exactly 7:45 a.m. Early, but not too early. Confident, but not arrogant. My navy suit fit perfectly. My heels clicked against the tile floors like a countdown. The outgoing chief of operations, an older man named Robert, met me in the lobby. He was retiring after 30 years, and he seemed relieved to hand over the chaos to someone else. "Welcome to St. Mary's," he said, shaking my hand. "It's a good hospital. Just needs some modernization." "That's why I'm here," I said. He walked me through the building. Administrative offices. Emergency department. Surgical wings. And then, the break room on the 3rd floor near cardiology. "We can grab coffee here," Robert said. Staff uses it constantly. Good place to get a feel for the culture. We walked in, and that's when I heard her voice. Emily. Unmistakable. That same confident tone she'd used to dismiss me 3 years ago. She was standing with her back to us, talking to 3 other doctors near the coffee machine. She was animated, laughing, gesturing with her hands. I'm so excited about this vacation, she was saying. Marcus booked us this incredible resort in Turks and Caicos. Private villa, infinity pool. I mean, we deserve it after the year we've had. One of the doctors laughed. Must be nice having a rich fiancé. Emily waved her hand dismissively. Please. I make my own money. But yeah, it doesn't hurt. Another doctor asked, how's your family doing? You mentioned a sister once, right? Emily's voice changed. Cooler. Dismissive. My sister? Haven't spoken to her in years. She was going through things. Some people just can't get it together, you know? The casual cruelty of it hit me like a physical blow. Going through things. Like I'd been depressed or lazy. Not like I'd been discarded after years of sacrifice. I cleared my throat. The sound cut through the break room like a knife. Emily stopped mid-sentence. The other doctors turned around. And then, slowly, Emily turned too. Time stopped. Her face went through a series of expressions I'll never forget. Confusion first. Then recognition. Then absolute, complete shock. The color drained from her cheeks. Her mouth opened but no sound came out. I stepped forward, extending my hand with perfect professional composure. Dr. Carter, I said, my voice steady and clear. I'm Mia Reeves Carter, the new Chief of Operations for Meridian Healthcare. I'll be overseeing all operational functions here at St. Mary's moving forward. Looking forward to working together. I didn't wait for her to shake my hand. I pulled it back after 2 seconds, turned to Robert, and said, shall we continue the tour? I walked out of that break room without looking back. Behind me, I heard one of the doctors whisper, wait, is that her sister? I didn't hear Emily's response. I didn't need to. She tried to speak. I didn't stop walking. 3 years of silence taught me, sometimes the most powerful thing you can say is nothing at all. Revenge isn't a dish served cold. It's served on a silver platter, in a boardroom, with your name on the door. The rest of that first day was a blur of meetings, introductions, and operational reviews. But through it all, I felt Emily's presence like a ghost haunting the hallways. I knew she was looking for me. I could feel it. My new office was on the 4th floor. Corner office. Windows overlooking Baltimore. My name was already on the door, Mia Reeves Carter, Chief of Operations. I ran my fingers over the engraved nameplate and allowed myself one moment of pure satisfaction. 3 years ago, I was homeless and heartbroken. Now I had an office bigger than Emily's entire guest room. My assistant, David, was a godsend. Mid-30s, efficient, and discreet. He'd worked at St. Mary's for 5 years and knew every operational secret, every staff conflict, every budget problem nobody wanted to talk about. Your afternoon schedule is packed, he said, handing me a tablet. Department head meetings, budget reviews, and a board call at 4. Perfect, I said. Also, David? I need you to do something for me. Of course. If Dr. Emily Carter tries to schedule a meeting with me or stops by the office, tell her I'm unavailable. Booked solid. For the foreseeable future. David's eyes flickered with understanding. He didn't ask questions. Understood. Thank you. He left, and I sat down at my desk. Opened my laptop. And saw it immediately. 17 missed calls from an unknown number. 23 text messages from the same number. I opened the messages. Unknown, Mia? Is that really you? Unknown, please answer me. Unknown, we need to talk. Unknown, I can't believe you're here. Unknown, please don't ignore me. Unknown, Mia, I'm serious, answer your phone. They went on like that. Desperate. Panicked. The same person who'd called me dead weight was now begging for my attention. I blocked the number. 10 minutes later, David knocked on my door. Dr. Carter is here to see you. I'm in meetings all day. That's what I told her. She's persistent. Let her be persistent. I'm still unavailable. David nodded and left. Through my office window, I could see down into the parking lot. Emily's luxury SUV was parked in a doctor's reserved spot. She'd probably rushed here the second her shift ended. Good. Let her rush. Let her panic. Let her feel what it's like to be dismissed. My first week at St. Mary's was a masterclass in professional warfare. I attended every department meeting. Asked pointed questions about inefficiencies. Requested detailed budget reports from every senior staff member. I wasn't cruel. I wasn't unprofessional. I was just thorough. Terrifyingly thorough. Emily tried to approach me 4 more times that week. Each time, David intercepted her. Each time, I was in meetings or on conference calls or unavailable. By Friday, hospital gossip was running wild. I heard it through David, through staff members who didn't know we were related, through the hospital grapevine that moved faster than any email system. The new COO is ruthless. She's already identified 20 cost-cutting measures. Did you hear she's implementing mandatory performance reviews for all senior staff? And my personal favorite, Dr. Carter looked like she'd seen a ghost when the new COO walked in. On Friday afternoon, I sent out my first hospital-wide email. Professional. Courteous. Absolutely devastating. Subject, organizational restructuring and board updates. To all staff. From Mia Reeves Carter, Chief of Operations. Dear St. Mary's team. As we begin this transition period with Meridian Healthcare Management, I want to introduce some operational changes and updates. The email went on to detail new efficiency protocols, budget review processes, and performance standards. Standard corporate stuff. But at the bottom, I included the new board structure. Updated board of directors. Richard Morrison, Chairman. Patricia Hughes, CFO. Mia Reeves Carter, Chief of Operations and Strategic Advisor. Dr. Jonathan Pierce, Medical Director. Board Member. I wasn't just an employee. I helped own the hospital now. Within an hour, my phone, the new number didn't have, started ringing. Unknown numbers. Probably her calling from different phones. I let every call go to voicemail. That evening, David stopped by my office before leaving. Dr. Carter waited outside your office for 2 hours today, he said carefully. I know. She left about 20 minutes ago. She looked upset. I didn't respond. Just kept typing on my laptop. David hesitated at the door. Ma'am, I don't know your history, and it's none of my business. But I've worked here a long time. I've seen a lot of people come through these doors. And I've never seen someone as determined as you. I looked up. Is that a compliment? He smiled slightly. It's an observation. After he left, I pulled up the security camera footage from the hallway outside my office. I shouldn't have. It was petty. But I did it anyway. There was Emily, sitting in one of the waiting chairs. Checking her phone. Looking at my office door. Waiting. For 2 hours. 3 years ago, I waited my entire life for her to see me. To value me. To remember what I'd sacrificed. Now she could wait. If you're still watching, you understand what it feels like to be underestimated. To be thrown away. Subscribe to this channel, because we're just getting started. And trust me, you won't want to miss what happens next. Power isn't about titles. It's about watching someone realize they never actually knew you. The second week was when things really started to fall apart for Emily. Monday morning, I launched my operational audit. Every department would be reviewed for efficiency, budget compliance, and performance metrics. It was standard procedure for any hospital acquisition. Nothing personal. Except Emily's department, cardiology, was one of the worst offenders. The numbers didn't lie. Excessive overtime costs because of poor scheduling. Supply waste from ordering errors. Equipment that sat unused while cheaper alternatives were overlooked. Over the past year, cardiology had gone 23% over budget. I didn't target her department. The data did. I scheduled mandatory meetings with all department heads to discuss their audit results. Emily's appointment was Wednesday at 2 p.m. She showed up 15 minutes early. David told me she was waiting in the conference room, nervous, fidgeting with her phone. I made her wait until 2:15. When I finally walked in, she stood up so fast her chair rolled back. Mia. Dr. Carter, I corrected, setting my folder on the table. Please, sit. Her face crumpled slightly, but she sat. I opened the folder and slid the audit report across the table. Professional. Clinical. Exactly how she'd spoken to me that night 3 years ago. Your department is significantly over budget, I said. 23%. That's unsustainable. I can explain. I'm not here for explanations. I'm here to discuss solutions. You'll need to submit a corrective action plan by Friday. Detailed schedule improvements, supply chain modifications, and projected cost reductions. Emily stared at the report. Then at me. Mia, can we please just talk? We are talking. About your department's performance. You know what I mean. I closed my folder and stood up. Dr. Carter, I have another meeting. David will send you the corrective action plan template. Friday. 5 p.m. Don't be late. I walked out. Behind me, I heard her voice crack. Please don't do this. I didn't turn around. The rest of that week, Emily's attempts to reach me became increasingly desperate. She called my office number repeatedly. David handled every call with practiced efficiency. She sent emails to my work address. I set up an auto-response directing all departmental concerns to David. She tried to catch me in the parking lot. I started parking in the executive garage with security badge access. She even showed up at a hospital board dinner Thursday night, claiming she needed to discuss urgent patient care concerns. I had security escort her out. It wasn't cruel. It was boundaries. The kind of boundaries she never gave me. By Friday, when she submitted her corrective action plan at 4:58 p.m., 2 minutes before the deadline, she looked exhausted. Dark circles under her eyes. Hair not quite as perfect as usual. The cracks were showing. David brought me the report. Dr. Carter's submission. She asked if you'd read it tonight. I'll review it Monday. She's still in the lobby. Waiting. I glanced at my watch. 6:30 p.m. Tell her I've left for the weekend. You want me to lie? I looked at him. I want you to tell her I'm unavailable. That's not a lie. He nodded and left. I stayed in my office until 8 p.m., working on other projects. When I finally left through the executive exit, Emily's SUV was still in the parking lot. She was sitting in the driver's seat, staring at her phone. 200 attempts. That's how many times she'd tried to reach me that week. Calls, texts, emails, physical visits. 200. 3 years ago, after I left, she tried to reach me 0 times. The math was pretty clear. Emily thought silence was her weapon 3 years ago. Now she was drowning in mine. If you've ever wondered whether the people who hurt you ever truly realize what they've done, drop a comment below. Because what happened next proved that guilt doesn't arrive on your schedule, it arrives on its own. The truth about revenge? It doesn't just hurt the guilty. It exposes them. Monday morning, I reviewed Emily's corrective action plan. It was good. Actually, it was excellent. Detailed, thoughtful, showing genuine understanding of the operational problems. She'd clearly spent the entire weekend working on it. But good wasn't enough. Not yet. I sent it back with a note, resubmit with implementation timeline and measurable outcomes. Due Wednesday. David delivered it personally. He came back 10 minutes later looking uncomfortable. She cried, he said quietly. In front of the nursing staff. I didn't respond. Just kept typing. Ma'am, I'm not judging. But she's unraveling. That's not my concern. Her department's performance is. He left without another word. But his comment stuck with me. Because Emily never cried in public. Ever. She was the composed one. The successful one. The one who had it all together while I was supposedly falling apart. That afternoon, I had a meeting with the hospital's finance director. He brought concerning news about several departments, but one detail caught my attention. Dr. Carter's personal finances are flagged, he said, sliding a report across the table. She's been requesting advance paychecks. Small amounts, but frequent. Started about 6 months ago. I kept my face neutral. Why am I seeing this? Board policy. Any senior staff with financial stress gets flagged for potential conflicts of interest. Nothing serious, just protocol. After he left, I sat alone in my office, staring at that report. Emily was broke. Or close to it. The luxury SUV, the townhouse, the Bahamas vacation, the engagement ring, it was all a performance. A carefully constructed image that was costing her everything. I pulled up her Instagram through my fake account. The photos told a different story now. The designer handbags. The expensive restaurants. The constant travel. Every post was a desperate attempt to prove she'd made it. But you can't spend your way to happiness. And you definitely can't spend your way out of guilt. Something else nagged at me. A memory I'd buried. I opened my laptop and searched my old email archives. The ones I'd kept but never looked at. And there it was. An email from Emily. Sent 3 weeks after I left. Subject, I'm sorry. I'd never opened it. I'd been too angry, too hurt. But now, 3 years later, I clicked it. Mia. I know you probably won't read this. I know you have every right to hate me. But I need to say this anyway. I can't stop thinking about your face when you left. What have I done? I was so afraid people would think I wasn't successful on my own. So I pushed away the only person who truly believed in me. I'm a coward. I know that now. I don't expect forgiveness. I just need you to know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Emily. I read it 3 times. She'd tried to apologize. Once. 3 weeks after destroying me. And then when I didn't respond, she just stopped. Moved on. Posted about her perfect life while I rebuilt mine from nothing. One apology. That's all she thought our relationship was worth. I closed the email and got back to work. Wednesday came. Emily submitted the revised plan at noon. It was perfect this time. Every detail addressed, timelines realistic, outcomes measurable. I approved it. But I also implemented hospital-wide performance reviews for all senior staff. Mandatory. Everyone would be evaluated on efficiency, leadership, and departmental outcomes. Emily included. The reviews would take 3 months. 3 months of constant scrutiny, constant pressure, constant reminders that her success was now being measured by someone who knew exactly how little she valued loyalty. That night, I worked late. Around 8 p.m., I heard a knock on my office door. "Come in," I called, expecting David. It was Emily. She stood in the doorway, looking smaller than I remembered. Her doctor's coat was wrinkled. Her hair was pulled back in a messy bun. She looked exhausted. "David left for the day," she said quietly. I waited until he did. "You're not supposed to be here." "I know. But I'm not leaving until you listen to me." I leaned back in my chair. "You have 5 minutes." She stepped inside, closing the door behind her. "I know you hate me. I know I deserve it. But I need you to understand something." "Understand what?" "That you threw me away?" I understood that perfectly 3 years ago. "I was scared," she said, her voice breaking. "Everyone at that party was so successful, so accomplished. And there I was, finally a doctor, but I had you living with me. I thought, God, this is going to sound so stupid, I thought they'd see you struggling and think less of me. So you humiliated me instead." "Yes. And I've regretted it every single day since." I stood up, walked to the window. Baltimore glittered below us, indifferent to our pain. "Do you know what you took from me that night?" "Your pride?" "My family." I turned to face her. "You were all I had left. After Mom and Dad died, after I gave up everything to raise you, you were the only family I had. And you treated me like garbage in front of strangers." Emily's face crumpled. Tears streamed down her cheeks. "I know. I know, and I can't take it back. I can't undo it. But I'm trying to show you." "Show me what?" "That you're sorry now that I have power? That you regret it now that I'm your boss? Where was this remorse 3 years ago?" "I sent you an email." "One email," I said coldly. "One apology, and when I didn't respond, you gave up. You moved on. You posted about your perfect life while I was eating ramen and working 2 jobs just to survive. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. That's different." Silence filled the office. Heavy. Suffocating. Emily wiped her tears. "What do you want from me, Mia? Tell me what I can do." "Nothing. I don't want anything from you." "Then why am I still here? If you really didn't care, you'd fire me." She had a point. I could have made her life impossible. Could have found reasons to let her go. But I hadn't. "Your 5 minutes are up," I said. She nodded slowly, turned toward the door. Then stopped. "I loved you," she whispered. "I still do. You're my sister. And I destroyed that. But if you ever, even for 1 second, think there's a chance we could fix this, I'll spend the rest of my life trying." She left before I could respond. I stood there alone in my office for an hour after she left, staring at nothing, feeling everything. Guilt is a funny thing. It waits until you're not expecting it, then crashes through the door you thought you'd locked forever. 3 years of silence ended in a hospital stairwell. And I wasn't the one who broke first. 2 weeks passed. I maintained professional distance. Emily submitted every report on time, attended every meeting, followed every protocol. She was a model employee. But I saw the cracks. The way her hands shook during presentations. The dark circles that makeup couldn't hide. The way she'd look at me in meetings like she was drowning and I was standing on the shore. Friday afternoon, I was leaving a board meeting on the 5th floor when I decided to take the stairs instead of the elevator. Needed to clear my head. I was halfway down to the 4th floor when I heard footsteps rushing up behind me. "Stop running from me." Emily's voice echoed in the stairwell. I turned. She was 2 flights below, climbing fast, her face flushed with anger or desperation or both. "I'm not running. I'm walking." There's a difference. You know what I mean. She reached my landing, breathing hard. You can't ignore me forever. Watch me. I started walking again, but she grabbed my arm. I stopped, looked down at her hand, then up at her face. Let go. Not until you listen. Her voice cracked. I'm your sister. You stopped being my sister the night you called me deadweight. The words hung between us like a blade. Emily's hand dropped. I was wrong. I was so wrong. What do you want me to do? Beg? Fine. I'm begging. I don't want you to beg. I don't want anything from you. Then what is this? She gestured around the stairwell, her voice rising. This whole thing? Coming here, becoming my boss, making me grovel? What is this if not revenge? It's justice. It's torture. Really? I stepped closer. You feel tortured? Let me tell you about torture, Emily. Torture is working yourself to exhaustion for years to give your little sister a future. Torture is dropping out of college so she can go. Torture is sacrificing every dream you had so she could live hers. And then, after all that, torture is being thrown away like you never mattered. So forgive me if I don't feel sorry for you being uncomfortable at work. Emily's face went pale. I never asked you to sacrifice. You were 15. Of course you didn't ask. But I did it anyway because that's what family does. Or that's what I thought family did. Apparently, I was wrong. I was stressed that night. Stop. I held up my hand. Stop making excuses. You weren't stressed. You were embarrassed. Of me. Your sister. The woman who raised you. You're right. Emily's voice dropped to a whisper. You're right about all of it. I wasn't expecting that. She sank down onto the stairwell steps, her head in her hands. I was embarrassed. And ashamed. Not of you, of myself. Because everyone at that party was talking about how they got where they were through hard work and brilliance. And I knew the truth. I knew I got there because of you. Because you gave up everything. And instead of being grateful, I was resentful. Resentful of what? Of owing you. She looked up at me, tears streaming down her face. Every success I had came with this weight. This reminder that I didn't do it alone. That someone sacrificed for me. And instead of thanking you, I pushed you away because it was easier than facing how much I owed you. The honesty of it struck me like a physical blow. So you threw me away to feel better about yourself, I said quietly. Yes. And it didn't work. Nothing worked. I tried to forget, tried to pretend it never happened, tried to build this perfect life. But you were always there. In every success. Every celebration. Every moment that should have made me happy just reminded me of what I'd done to you. I sat down on the step across from her. My legs felt weak. Do you remember what you said to me at your white coat ceremony? Emily asked. I did. But I let her tell me. You said, I'm so proud of you. Mom and Dad would be so proud. And I didn't even thank you. I just smiled for the camera and moved on. Because thanking you meant admitting I didn't do it alone. And I was so desperate to prove I was special, I erased the person who made it all possible. We sat in silence. The stairwell was cold. Sterile. Appropriate for this moment. I don't expect forgiveness, Emily continued. I don't deserve it. But I need you to know, everything I am came from you. And I forgot that. I'm so deeply sorry. I pulled out my phone, opened my recordings, and played it. Emily's voice from 3 years ago. Honestly, I'm relieved she's gone. She was always so needy. Emily's face drained of color. You heard that? I called you that night. To apologize for leaving abruptly. Your voicemail picked up while you were talking to someone. It recorded 30 seconds before disconnecting. Mia. You weren't just embarrassed that night. You were relieved to get rid of me. So don't tell me you regretted it every day. You regretted getting caught. I stood up, pocketed my phone. I don't need your apology, Emily. I needed it 3 years ago. Now? I just need you to be professional. I walked away for the second time in my life. But this time I walked towards something. Not away from everything. Just when you think you know the whole story, life hands you a page you never saw coming. Before I tell you what happened next, I need you to do something. If this story resonates with you, if you've ever been betrayed, overlooked, or thrown away, hit that subscribe button and leave a comment telling me your story. Because you're not alone. None of us are. Monday morning started normally. Meetings, reports, operational reviews. But at 11 a.m., my assistant buzzed me. Ms. Carter, there's a Marcus right here to see you. He doesn't have an appointment, but he says it's urgent. About Dr. Emily Carter. Marcus. Emily's fiancé. Send him in. Marcus walked into my office looking nervous. He was tall, clean-cut, the kind of man who looked good in a suit but uncomfortable in his own skin. We'd never met, but I'd seen enough pictures to recognize him. Ms. Carter, thank you for seeing me. You have 10 minutes. What's this about? He sat down, fidgeting with his phone. I need to tell you something about Emily. Something she doesn't know I'm telling you. I leaned back in my chair. I'm listening. She's been struggling. Financially. 4 months. I know. Her advance paycheck requests are documented. His eyebrows raised. You know? It's board protocol. What's your point? The luxury lifestyle, the expensive car, the townhouse, it's all borrowed money. Credit cards maxed out. Personal loans. She even took out a loan against her retirement account. Why are you telling me this? Because she's doing it to maintain an image. An image she thinks she needs to prove she made it without you. That caught my attention. Marcus continued, she talks about you in her sleep. Almost every night. She says I'm sorry over and over. Sometimes she cries. She won't talk about it when she's awake, but I know she's drowning in guilt. Then she should have reached out years ago. She tried. He pulled out his phone, opened it, and slid it across my desk. This is her personal journal. I found it while packing boxes for our move. I know I shouldn't have read it, but... I looked at the screen. It was dated 2 weeks after I left. I can't stop thinking about Mia's face when she left. What have I done? I pushed away the only person who truly believed in me. I'm a coward. I was so afraid people would think I wasn't successful on my own. But the truth is, I'm not. Every achievement I have came because Mia sacrificed for me. And I threw her away like garbage. I tried calling. She blocked me. I sent an email. No response. She's gone. Really gone. And I deserve it. But God, it hurts. Every morning I wake up and remember what I said to her. Dead weight. Who says that to the person who raised them? Who does that? I'm too ashamed to keep trying. Too afraid she'll tell me exactly what I deserve to hear. So I'll just carry this. Forever. This weight of knowing I destroyed the only family I had left. There were dozens of entries like that. Months of them. Then they stopped about a year after I left. What happened here? I pointed to the gap. She was diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, Marcus said quietly. Right around the time those entries stopped. She's been in therapy ever since, but she's never addressed what happened with you. Her therapist doesn't even know about it. I pushed the phone back across the desk. Why are you telling me this? Because I love her. And I see her destroying herself trying to prove something to a world that doesn't care. The only person she needs to prove anything to is you. And you're here now. And I thought maybe you deserved to know the truth. The truth is she hurt me. Deeply. That doesn't go away because she feels guilty. I know. But I also know she's been punishing herself for 3 years. Isn't that enough? I stood up. That's not for you to decide. Or me. Emily made choices. Now she lives with them. Marcus nodded slowly, standing. Fair enough. But for what it's worth, the woman who threw you out that night? She's not the woman I know. The woman I know volunteers at free clinics on weekends. She mentors young doctors. She cries watching commercials about reunited families. She's broken, Miss Carter. And I think you both are. He left. I sat alone in my office, staring at nothing. Revenge felt righteous when Emily was the villain. But what happens when you realize the villain was also broken? Forgiveness isn't weakness. But neither is choosing not to forgive. Sometimes the hardest choice is knowing the difference. Wednesday afternoon, chaos erupted. Code blue in operating room 3. Equipment malfunctioned during open-heart surgery. The backup systems failed simultaneously, something that should have been impossible. I was in my office when the alert came through. All available personnel to operating room 3. Critical patient emergency. I ran. When I got there, the hallway was packed with staff. Nurses. Technicians. And Emily, still in her surgical gown, barking orders. Manual suction. Get me manual suction now. The power flickered. Emergency lighting kicked in. Someone shouted, backup generators failing. Emily's eyes met mine across the chaos. Mia. I need your operational expertise. Now. I didn't think. I just moved. For the next 40 minutes, we worked in perfect synchronization. I coordinated with IT, facilities, and external vendors to route auxiliary power. Emily kept the patient stable using manual equipment, her hands steady despite the chaos. The lights came back on. The equipment hummed to life. The surgery continued. 2 hours later, the patient was stable. In recovery. Alive. I found Emily sitting on the floor outside the operating room, still in her surgical gown, head back against the wall, eyes closed. I sat down next to her. Neither of us spoke for a long time. Finally, Emily said, "Thank you. I wasn't doing it for you." I know. That's why it meant something. More silence. The hallway was quiet now, the emergency over, staff dispersed. That was incredible, I said. What you did in there. Keeping that patient alive with basically nothing. That's the job. No. That's brilliance. Emily opened her eyes, looked at me. You think I'm brilliant? I always have. That was never the question. Then what was the question? Whether you remembered where that brilliance came from. Who supported you when you were learning? Who believed in you before anyone else did? Emily's eyes filled with tears. I forgot. And I'm so sorry. I know you are. Marcus told me. Her face went pale. He what? He showed me your journal. Told me about the anxiety diagnosis. About the financial struggles. He had no right. He loves you. That gives him some right. Emily wiped her tears. I never wanted you to know I was struggling. I wanted you to think I was fine. Successful. That I didn't need you. Why? Because if you thought I needed you, it meant I hadn't grown. Hadn't changed. Hadn't become better than the person who threw you out. I shook my head. Emily, needing people isn't weakness. Pushing them away is. I know that now. We sat there, two sisters who'd lost each other, sitting on a hospital floor after saving a life together. I don't know if we can be sisters again, I said quietly. Emily's face fell. But maybe, I continued, we can start by being honest. I'll take honest, Emily whispered. I'll take anything you're willing to give. Then here's honest, you hurt me more than anyone ever has. You took the person who loved you most and made them feel worthless. And I don't know if I can forget that. I don't expect you to. But, I took a breath, I also can't keep carrying this anger. It's exhausting. And watching you in there today, saving that patient. I remembered why I sacrificed for you in the first place. Because you're brilliant. You save lives. And the world needs that. But you don't need me. No. I don't. Not anymore. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we can exist in each other's lives without needing each other. Without owing each other. Just being. Emily nodded slowly. I'd like that. It won't be easy. I'm still angry. I know. And I'm still your boss. I know that too. But we can try. For the first time in 3 years, Emily smiled at me. Really smiled. Not the performance smile from Instagram. A real one. Thank you, she said. We didn't hug. We didn't cry together. We just existed in the same space without hurting each other. And somehow, that felt like a start. Revenge doesn't always end with destruction. Sometimes it ends with rebuilding yourself, not them. 6 months later. I'm still chief of operations at St. Mary's Hospital. Still driving change, still pushing excellence, still building something meaningful. But it's different now. It's not about proving anything to Emily. It's about building something I'm proud of. Last month, I launched a mentorship program for young women in healthcare management. 15 months so far. I meet with them monthly, share my story, help them navigate their careers. It's the program I wish I'd had when I was struggling. And last week, I was named to Baltimore's 40 Under 40 list. Chief of Operations at 32 years old. Self-made. No shortcuts. No handouts. Just hard work and refusing to stay down when life knocked me over. Emily is different too. She completed intensive therapy. Finally addressed what happened between us with a professional. She downsized her lifestyle, sold the luxury SUV, moved to a smaller apartment she can actually afford. She broke off her engagement with Marcus, mutual decision, they both realized they were together for the wrong reasons. But here's the thing, she's happier now. Lighter. She started a support group at the hospital for healthcare workers struggling with anxiety. 20 members already. She talks openly about her mental health, about her mistakes, about learning to be better. We have coffee once a month. Usually at the hospital cafeteria, sometimes at the corner diner. It's awkward sometimes. We don't talk about the past much. Mostly we talk about work, about her support group, about my mentorship program. Last month, during one of our coffees, she slid an envelope across the table. What's this? Open it. Inside was a check for $20,000. Emily. It's what I owe you. For the med school applications. For the board exam fees. For the thousands of other things you paid for that I never acknowledged. It's taken me 6 months to save it, but it's yours. I don't want your money. It's not about what you want. It's about what's right. You gave me everything. The least I can do is pay you back. I stared at that check for a long time. Then I did something that surprised both of us. I tore it in half. What are you? I don't want repayment, Emily. I want something else. What? I want you to take this money and use it for someone else. A young doctor struggling with student loans. A nurse who can't afford childcare. Someone who needs help the way I needed help when I had nowhere to go. Can you do that? Emily's eyes filled with tears. She nodded. And one more thing, I said. I want you to tell them where the money came from. Not from you. From your sister. Who believed in paying it forward. Can you do that too? Yes, she whispered. 3 weeks ago, Emily spoke at the hospital's annual fundraiser. She was the keynote speaker, talking about physician mental health and the importance of support systems. At the end of her speech, she said something that surprised me. I want to talk about my sister for a moment. Mia Carter. Some of you know her as our chief of operations. But I know her as the person who raised me after our parents died. Who sacrificed her education, her career, her dreams so I could become a doctor. And for a long time, I forgot that. I forgot where I came from and who got me there. The room was silent. I hurt her. Badly. In ways I can never fully repair. But she taught me something recently, that success isn't measured by how high you climb, but by who you lift on the way up. And I'm committing today to lift others the way she lifted me. Even when I didn't deserve it. Even when I forgot to say thank you. She looked directly at me in the audience. Thank you, Mia. For everything. Then and now. People applauded. I didn't. I just nodded. After the event, someone asked me if I'd forgiven her. I said, I don't know if forgiveness is a moment or a process. But I'm working on it. And so is she. And maybe that's enough. My office wall tells my story now. My MBA diploma. My 40 Under 40 award. My mentorship program certificate. And one photo, in a simple frame, young Mia and Emily, the day Emily got into med school. We're both smiling. Real smiles. The kind that come before betrayal and pain and years of silence. The caption underneath says, she's still my sister. But I'm no longer her shadow. Because that's the truth. I'm not her shadow. I'm not her savior. I'm not her villain. I'm just Mia. Chief of Operations. Mentor. Survivor. Woman who refused to let betrayal define her. People ask if I regret the 3 years I spent building myself back up. The answer is no. Those 3 years taught me something Emily's apologies never could. I am enough. With or without her acknowledgement. With or without her gratitude. With or without her in my life at all. I didn't disappear to become someone for her. I disappeared to become someone for me. And when you become the person you were meant to be, revenge stops mattering. Because you've already won. The greatest revenge isn't destroying the person who hurt you. It's becoming so whole that their betrayal becomes just a chapter, not the whole story. So here's my question for you. If someone you sacrificed everything for betrayed you, could you forgive them? Or is moving forward enough? Drop your answer in the comments below. And if this story meant something to you, if you saw yourself in my pain or my triumph, subscribe to Revenge Stories today. Because your story matters too. And you deserve to see yourself reflected in stories of survival, strength, and second chances. Remember, you are not the worst thing that happened to you. You are how you rise after it.